Let us continue.
It's past 9 p.m. already, isn't it? I wonder if Mr. Edgeworth has already found Mystic Maya.
These things take time. I'd say probably not. The police are professionals, Pearls. They'll find her, so don't you worry. And if we can win a not guilty verdict tomorrow, then everything will be okay.
You're right. Wow, it's really getting late, isn't it, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, it's past 9 p.m. already. But we still have some things to prepare for tomorrow's trial. There's still the matter of this secret Mr. Corda held about Mr. Engarde, and Miss Andrews' real intentions. These are two things I must know tonight.
But aren't visiting hours over at the detention at the detention center?
I'm sure we'll think of something, Pros. Don't you worry. Oh God. Hey, wait. What is it, whippersnapper? All I know is nothing that has anything to do with you is ever good. God, I will be happy if we never have to see her again. Just like now, it's had a strange device for who knows what reason. I was sorry to use it, it searched the whole hotel. That's the bug sweeper, isn't it? The one Gumshoe made. I don't know, and frankly, I don't care, but the request came from Edgeworth, so... Edgeworth. And he said, if you feel angry, direct your anger at the unsophisticated lawyer. So I'm going to feel free to direct all my anger towards you. Gee, thanks a bundle, Edgeworth. What a pal you are. This is absolutely top secret, so you had better keep it to yourselves. I heard they found a spy camera hidden in one of the presents. Very interesting. I'm sure it was, you know. It was a catch poor Juan in the middle of a scandalous meeting.
Scandalous? What's that?
It means, well, you know, that gossip that's going around about my dear Juan. Oh, you mean that thing about Miss Andrews? But I'm sure she must have had some reason for getting close to Mr. Corda. But you're another secret, young'un. I know who planted this spy camera. It was that obnoxious, puffy-haired photographer girl. They're nervous, some people. Spying on people by herself. As if I would want to see it for myself, too. Wow, the alien actually admitted her true intentions for a change. I don't know what's her thing exactly, but I bet that it's nothing good. I didn't say anything. You want to know about Juan and that manager, right? Actually, as I hear it, there was something of a refreshing pair of those two. Huh? I tell you, Juan really welcomed that manager with open arms, I heard.
That manager? Who are you talking about?
You don't know that manager woman Juan had. It's a shame she killed herself, though. Oh, you're talking about Miss Celeste Impacts. Miss Andrews' mentor, right? Yes, that's the one. That's Celeste girl. She was supposed to get married, you know. Married? You mean to Mr. Corda? Huh. Really, you young kids today don't know anything, do you? That girl Celeste killed herself 3 days after their marriage announcements. 3 days after their marriage announcement? What in the...
Why would Miss Impacts want to kill herself? She was going to get married.
Well, that's because she was thrown away, you see, by Juan. What?
But they were going to get married, right? They promised each other, right?
Oh. Pearl, how young and innocent. They held a grand announcement session, but 3 days later, Juan suddenly canceled their marriage. Is that true? It was in the weekly magazines.
But why? Why did you do that?
That was not in the magazines, unfortunately. I see. God, stop showing this picture. And after Juan called off the wedding, that manager Celeste killed herself. How terrible.
I wonder what happened between those two.
That night, there must have been at least a few hundred people here. I guess the police are done with their questioning and investigation. Looks like things here in the lobby have finally calmed down. We've finally found just the person we've been looking for, a real decisive witness. Decisive witness? You mean for the Engarde case? We're taking the witness statement right now. Gotta hand it to Mr. Edgeworth. What's Edgeworth up to now?
Who is this witness?
I think you know this person quite well, Mr. Lawyer.
Mr. Nick!
Between the kidnappers demand and now this, I can't see any way to win here. Oh yeah, Mr. Edgeworth wanted me to tell you something. He did? Even though visiting hours are long over at the detention center, he wanted me to grant you special permission, so there you go.
What?
I've already called them so they know. Go on, go talk to your heart's content. Thank you very much.
This is such good news, Mr. Nick.
Go talk to your heart's content? Sounds like the police are pretty sure they have tomorrow's trial in the bag. Well, let's go to the detention center then. I'm sure they must have transferred Miss Andrews here by now. So that means that both Mr. Engarde and Miss Andrews are in this detention center. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? Oh, it's you. Well, who else would it be? Sorry to be visiting at such a late hour. There are a few questions I absolutely have to ask you tonight. Me? I thought your client was Matt. I'm sure Miss Andrews knows something. She can't be clueless about this secret Mr. Corda had on Mr. Engarde. I'd like to ask you about Matt Engarde, if you don't mind. Mr. Wright, you still don't know, do you? The real him, I mean. You seem to bear a lot of resentment towards Mr. Engarde. If that's the case, then why did you become his manager? And why would you become intimate with his rival? That has nothing to do with this case. Nothing. About Miss Celeste impacts. I'd finally put her death behind me, and now thanks to you, it's all come back to the surface. I'm sorry. Yes, I was shocked by her suicide, and it's true that when I heard the rumor that Juan was the one who had hidden her suicide note, I began to draw close to him. I wanted to get her suicide note back and to burn it. You wanted to burn it? But why? I didn't want it to spread like just another piece of gossip. But I never held any murderous intent towards Juan. I would never do something so stupid. And yet you set up Engarde. Okay. Why'd you try to frame Mr. Engarde? That's simple, because he's the killer, that's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police?
But there had to be another way.
The police are excellent at doing their jobs. They'd figured it out, right? Yes, they're so good that they couldn't figure out the real truth behind Celeste's death.
Miss Andrews.
Well, I know you're not the type of person to do something without a reason, so please, tell me why you did what you did. Revenge.
Did you say something just now?
What the? Of course, she moved her lips. One? Psych lock, huh? Not a super difficult psych lock. Don't you understand yet? You're not my lawyer. To be honest, you're more like my enemy. Oh, come on. We have a playful back and forth. But I'm sure I just heard Miss Andrews say revenge. All right, she has one lock. Can you please tell me why you framed Mr. Engarde for murder? I've already told you countless times. It's because I thought Matt was the killer. No, that's not it. I know you have a personal reason to dislike Mr. Engarde. Miss Andrews, you may think I didn't hear it, but I know you said something earlier. You said revenge. So you're saying I was taking my revenge on Matt, and that's why? What an absurd idea. I don't have anything I want to take revenge for. Miss Andrews, a woman who lives by being dependent on other people. There's something or someone in her past that would make her take revenge. Take that! Oh. Okay, the most obvious one. Celeste? There's only one catalyst that could cause such strong feelings and even revenge, and that is Miss Impact's suicide. Man, the producers of this game really have a hard-on for this particular picture, and it's weird. Stop showing it. We get it. She fucking killed herself. Good God. What does all this have to do with Matt? You're right. You haven't mentioned him yet. But for you to hate Mr. Engarde, it would mean that he must have had some relation to Miss Impact and her suicide. Can you explain to me the relation between Celeste and Matt? Yeah, it could be that Matt tells us something that we need to know. So that's entirely possible. All right, let's try talking to Matt. Dude, it's Mr. Wright. I hope you can get me off the hook tomorrow. I'm counting on you. I hope so too. Edgeworth just dropped a bombshell on me by saying that Juan Cordo was killed by an assassin, that the assassin's client is this man, Matt Engarde. What's wrong? Matt Engarde, there's something I must know with 100% certainty. You seem kind of different. You're totally not like your usual lawyer dude self. My usual lawyer dude self. You know, I've actually been asked a similar question to that before. You're like totally not law guy. This is like law guy or something like that. About the press conference. You mean the one where Juan was gonna dress up as the Nickel Samurai? Yeah, I heard a little more about it from Miss Andrews. Could you please fill me in as on what the secret is, please? Oh, here we go. Ga 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 ga. It's almost an insect of locks. Yeah, this is
Mr. Nick, don't tell me.
Cyclox. said a secret, right? But I don't have any idea what it is. Do you, dude? You know about Mr. Corda and Miss Andrews' relationship? Well, it's all over the tabloids, dude. Oh, but I don't know any of the details, if that's what you mean. Look, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't care what Juan did with his life. Miss Andrews, she had a purpose in mind when she started seeing Mr. Corda. Her mentor was Mr. Corda's manager. Miss Andrews was going to get Miss Celeste Impact's suicide note from him. Celeste! Does that jog any memories? Dude, I suddenly just got totally hungry. You up for a pizza? My treat.
Mr. Nick, what's a pizza? Is it a kind of pea like green peas?
No, it's significantly better. Let's go eat one later. Oh, I gotta cut off by the pizza dude at the shop. That's too bad. How about we get our minds off this topic and talk about something else, okay? Mr. Engarde, are you connected to Miss Impact's suicide in some way? Let's give it a shot! Now let's hear what this secret of yours is. What if Mr. Corda had been successful in his plan? What would we have to disclose? I told you before, dude, I don't know. I don't know anything about Juan, okay? Look, Mr. Wright, I can keep on saying it until I'm blue in the face, but I totally didn't pay Juan any attention the whole time that night. I mean, come on, I was in the middle of a nap. Don't lie to me. Huh? I know you paid close attention to Mr. Corda, especially on that night. Yeah, the camera that was in the bear, Gumshoe took it. Mr. Engarde? Dude, I know I asked you to be my lawyer and all, but I don't think I have to tell you anything and everything. What do you mean by that? Just means I don't have to tell you anything and everything, dude. About this person. He's
your butler, Mr. Dell, right? We met him at your mansion.
Oh, yes, that's right. He's a pretty cool dude who can do lots of things. He takes real good care of me. Okay, that's not suspicious at all. And Phoenix is like, okay. I don't get it. Why would you want to frame me? I mean, I've never done anything to her, dude. Engarde seems pretty sincere. He seems trustworthy. So I have to find out what Miss Andrews' real intentions are. That makes it seem like I should talk to her first. Oh. That's right. Please. Uh-oh. Oh. Mr. Powers?
What happened? Why are you here?
You see, I got roped into this somehow.
What?
And now I'm going to testify at tomorrow's trial.
So the decisive witness is Mr. Powers?
I was talking with a detective until a little while ago when I was on my way home. When all of a sudden, you're under arrest. And I was brought back here.
Oh.
He said my face and whole self in general looks suspicious or something.
Oh, well, I guess I can see how they thought that you look suspicious. Profiling Wolverines. Ugh, the world these days.
I'm just a normal guy in an exercise show for kids. Is that a crime?
So, about this testimony you're giving, what are you going to talk about?
I really don't know yet, but it sounds like I saw something pretty important for what they tell me.
Oh, you saw something important. What was it?
Well, the detective told me not to talk about it. You can't tell anyone, and especially not that lawyer. Oh, you mean my lawyer? I think I'm gonna tell my lawyer whatever the fuck I want to tell him, because I would probably consult with him before, doing this anyways, just because. I'd be stupid not to.
Who do you think that lawyer the detective was talking?
Well, who the fuck do you think? I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's me.
Yeah, you got it.
Mr. Nick, Mystic Maya and myself are your only two allies in the whole world, but it's alright.
Ouch. I don't really have a lot of friends, do I?
This is gonna do a lot of damage to Matt, because he's got that refreshing like a spring breeze image going.
What is he really like?
Well, let's see. Matt's always been kind of a player with women. He would never really turn a pretty face away, if you know what I mean. He'd always say, it's just a game, to justify himself.
What? How horrible! That's unforgivable!
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. But he once said that there's only one person in the world who won't swoon over me.
One person who wouldn't swoon over him?
His manager, Miss Adrian Andrews.
Why is Mr. Powers suddenly looking kind of energetic?
You see, I'm actually a sucker for gossip. I mean, celebrities in their world have this dazzling sort of image, right?
Dazzling sort of image? Aren't you a part of that dazzle, Mr. Powers?
No, I'm more of a hairy, sweaty, smelly, brutish kind of guy, you see. But it's okay, really. I get to hear plenty of gossip about a lot of the other stars around me as things happen.
Well, that...
Oh, hey, so did you hear about this yet? About Miss Andrews' mentor and her suicide?
You mean Miss Impacts?
I heard something about how her wedding was canceled.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought about it a little the other day about that mysterious death. Hey, Mr. Wright, why don't you ask me about that? Come on, go ahead.
Mr. Powers is so charged up his skin is practically glowing with energy.
So you heard this? Celeste left a suicide note, and they say that Juan went and hid it.
We heard about that in court today, but there wasn't any actual proof that she left a note.
Well, this is what I think. I think that something bad was written on that note. Something bad for Juan, that is.
Something bad for Mr. Corda?
Why do you figure so?
Well, before she died, Celeste talked with a few of her friends, and she said it looks like I got caught up with a truly insidious man.
Truly insidious man? Did she mean more Mr. Corda by that?
Well, there's no one else that fits the bill, right? And that would be the reason enough for him to hide the suicide note.
I see. Well, that's some good info. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Both at a detention center right now. There are still things I don't understand. I have to get to two of them tell me everything.
Mr. Nick, your phone!
Yeah, that's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it?
I don't like the sound of this ringtone right now. Sounds kind of ominous.
Yeah, I know.
Hello? We're in trouble now, pal. I'll be back at the office real soon. What's wrong? Something really unexpected just happened. Mr. Edgeworth, Edgeworth? Anyway, hurry up and get back to the office, pal. I don't know what's going on. Hello? He got cut off.
What's going on, Mr. Nick?
Gumshoe said we need to go back to the office right away.
Then we should hurry back.
I'm scared to go back. Oh, God. Grow some cojones, sir.
What are you talking about, Mr. Nick? Pull yourself together.
Maybe it'll be good news.
Somehow I doubt that.
Maybe good news. Lol. Rafflecopter. Lamau.
What took you so long, pal? Mr. Edgeworth couldn't stick around forever and had to go. Well, what happened? We got him. We know who bought that spy camera.
Huh?
This quickly? This bear is what gave him away, pal. The bear? I figured it out, pal. I figured that we should have been looking into the bear instead of the camera. Did you?
But wasn't it Mr. Edgeworth that figured?
Shh, Pearls, shut up, shut up. And go on. There's only one person who bought one of those bears who's related to this crime. Mr. Engarde, duh.
Who is it? Who would be so rude as to buy another person in their room?
Matt Engarde.
Huh? Huh? Shit.
Now we have the camera, now we can be like, bruh, it was you. Matt Engarde, your client, that's who, pal. And here I thought things couldn't get any worse. You sure you heard that? You heard right? That the person who bought this beer was from the department store clerk, pal. This is the credit card receipt for the purchase. Can you just get that? They just gave you the purchase to somebody else? I mean, if you subpoenaed them, but just some dude who's like, hey, who bought one of these? Hey, can you give me a copy of their receipt? That's an exact match to the price of that stuffed bear. A receipt? That's all you have? Nah, it's just not just a receipt, pal. The store clerk said so himself. He told me. I'm sure I sold the bear to Matt Engarde. Mr. Engarde. I mean, the clerk even got Mr. Engarde's autograph out of it, pal. So I'm sure the person that bought the stuffed bear was Matt Engarde himself. My sight is failing me. This can't be. So what about the spy camera we found? That was a dead end, pal. I mean, you can get this kind of thing from anywhere. But for now, I guess you can give I can give these back to you for you to file away into evidence. I don't want to give up, pal. I didn't think it was possible. The person who put the spy camera in Juan Cordo's room was Matt Engarde.
Why? Why would Mr. Engarde do something like this?
I bet it was to catch Miss Andrews and Mr. Corda in one of their rendezvous. I bet it's not good enough for me. I have to know the absolute truth behind this camera. Are you going to see him? Mr. Engarde, I mean. Yes.
I'm scared, Mr. Nick. I wonder what we will find next.
I'm scared myself, but I have to put on a good face for Pearls. Matt Engarde, what in the world have you done? But I don't know. They're working really late, you know? It's already past 10 p.m., dude. It's just time you told me the truth. Relax, don't you know that ignorance is bliss? But if you really want to know, let's talk. One of these two things. Someone used this camera to secretly film Mr. Corda's room the night of the murder. Secretly film what? And then sent the images with the camera took with this transmitter. Wow, but dude, where was this camera you were talking about hidden? The spy camera was hidden in this bear's eye. A bear that was supposed to be a present from a fan. I guess Juan had a few of those kinds of fans too, huh, dude? Actually, I wouldn't say this bear was a present from a fan. So this is a really rough situation because we all know why Phoenix is doing what he's doing, right? It's to save Maya's life. But like, would an actual lawyer do this? No. 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 Never, 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 never. It's not that ignorance is bliss, but it's like, you hired me to represent you. Don't tell me you did it. You know, because for so many reasons why that, you know, that's bad. You sure, dude? Who else could it be from? Person who gave Mr. Corda this bear was... Mr. Engarde, don't you know this bear from somewhere? I don't think I've ever met Mr. Bear before, dude. Oh, but he says you know... Oh, but he says he knows you. How could you forget such a great friend? What else did the bear tell you? He says that the one who put the camera in his eye was you, Mr. Engarde. If I didn't know how you work in court, I'd think I was in serious trouble. Come on, this is all a joke, right, dude? You just pulling my leg. Looks like you're not ready to give up your secret yet. Well, do you have any proof you want to show me first? I have here one credit card receipt, Mr. Engarde. It's from when you bought that stuffed bear. Dude, all you can tell from this is that I spent $3,800. I go to that department store all the time, okay? This $3,800, this could just be the toothbrush I bought that one time. A $3,800 toothbrush? It's ivory, and it's got elephant hair for bristles. Wow, you are an awful human being. Elephant hair? Is that what rich people use nowadays? Anyway, the store clerk clearly remembers you and your purchase. After all, you even gave him an autograph, did you not? Dude, you should have said that earlier. So can I ask you one thing? Yeah? You're my lawyer, right, dude? So if you are, then why are you looking into stuff like that? Because if I don't know the truth, I can't help you. That's not entirely true. Sounds more like stupid lawyer talk to me. Hey, let's stop talking about this, okay? No, not yet. I haven't asked you why you set this camera up yet. And what your secret is. Of course, it would be strictly confidential. So what are you going to do now? I'm going to find out what I want to know because I must. The reason you hid this camera, Mr. What is this card? Maybe he doesn't know about this card. This is a certain man's calling card. The man's name is Shelly the Killer, and I'm sure you know of him, don't you? Shelly the Killer? That's ridiculous. Why would I know some shady scumbag like him? You don't really know him. Why are you acting so jumpy all of a sudden? This is it. I'm finally starting to get to the truth. I can't afford to make any more mistakes now. Mr. Man on Guard, I know why you know Mr. the Killer. It's because you're a hero of justice. Since you're the one who set up that camera. This means you knew exactly what was going to happen in that room. So how would you know something like that? Because you're his client, that's why. You hired Shelly the Killer to assassinate Mr. Juan Corda. The real mastermind behind this whole murder is you, Man on Guard. Oh, and here I was trying to be a good boy for you, dude. I thought if you didn't know, you'd be able to do your job without feeling bad. Well, that's what I thought anyway. That's how 99% of criminal defense lawyers have to operate. All right, guys. I know Matt's a fucking turd now. Mr. Engarde, you really did hire? Hold on a second. I'm gonna consult myself, okay? Consult myself? Well, I guess it's probably about time anyway. About time for what? I think it's time for you. What? So he has what, dissociative personality disorder? Where he's two distinct personalities? And where did he get that drink?
How do you do, Mr. Lawyer? I'm at Engarde.
This is crazy.
Well done, Mr. Wright. I bet it wasn't easy to gather as much information as you have.
So you are Shelly the Killer's client.
You didn't really think I would dirty my own hands in this, did you?
What do you mean?
That woman, Adrian, was quite brave herself, trying to stick the crime on me. I didn't think she had it in her. But all I care about is that Juan is dead. Isn't that right, Mr. Lawyer?
You're lying. What a terrible...
It's way past your bedtime, little girl. Go on, and let us grown-ups talk about more adult things.
But why? Why'd you hide the video camera in?
A weakling soon believes the words of others, just like that pathetic Adrian.
He knew about Miss Andrews' secrets?
But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins.
What?
Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. They turn their clients into cash cows by holding the sinful deed over their heads. How much do you think I'm worth? Care to guess?
And that's why?
Yes, that's where the video comes in. It's got his face in the crime scene recorded on it, preserved for all time. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. That's right, that video is my insurance. Isn't that what they call it, Mr. Wright?
Why would you do something so wrong?
Okay, Pearl, I really need you to...
Because he was about to sling so much dung onto my beautiful public image. Scandals are a little annoying, aren't they?
If Mr. Court had been able to give it, then Mr. Engarde's secret would have...
Well, that's what we call taking advantage of the situation, you know. He had no interest in doing it, really, but bit by bit it crept up on me. And then the situation just presented itself perfectly. How beautiful, I thought.
And that's how Mr. Court ended up dead.
Let me tell you something, I'm not like Adrian. I don't depend on anyone. People are simply things to be used and thrown away. Put on a sweet, innocent face and people will swallow anything you feed them. Adrian fell forth, the assassin too. And oh, how can I forget, even you fell for it, Mr. Lawyer. Everyone all working their butts off for me, Matt Engarde. Oh, did that leave you speechless? What a shame. What's wrong, Mr. Lawyer? You've grown awfully quiet. How could I have been so deceived by you all this time? When we first met, I asked if you had killed Juan Corda, and you answered very clearly that you hadn't killed anyone. Well, because you didn't ask him if he had anything to do with it. You asked him if he killed Juan himself. Hey now, I never told you any lies. The person who did the killing was that killer guy, right? All I'm guilty of is taking a cat nap in my room.
You killed Mr. Corda. Guard's just sitting over there like, oh shit. How did he get that drink?
I dare you to say that in court tomorrow. Ugh. Oh, but too bad you can't. You're my lawyer after all, aren't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? You could always drop my case and refuse to represent me. How does that sound? Oh, but you can't, can you? That would be one thing you absolutely can't do.
Mystic Maya!
You wouldn't want to test the killer. He's a man of his word, or so I hear. You can end up getting a certain friend of yours rubbed out if you lose.
You scoundrel! Woo-hoo-hoo. Whip out the big guns there, Phoenix!
So if I were you, Mr. Wright, Esquire, I think I would give it my all tomorrow. Remember, everyone likes a happy win-win resolution.
I'll get you for this.
That's such a cliche phrase.
It really is.
Juan said something just like that, if memory serves. Of course, well, we all know how well things turned out for him, don't we? Good night, Mr. Lawyer.
Maya, what am I supposed to do? And now you finally found it.
starting line of this case. Edgeworth. I don't care for the horrid atmosphere here, and let's return to the precinct. See, now this is very interesting. I like what the game did here. Edgeworth had been criticized for simply going after a guilty verdict, and that was it. Now, I know that the person is guilty, and I'm going for the innocent verdict. Though the difference here is that Edgeworth did it just for ambition's sake, whereas I'm doing it because my partner was kidnapped. Well, Wright, what are you going to do? Do you plan on changing your strategy?
No, we can't do that.
That's right. He's holding Maya hostage. What should I do? That's not something I can answer for you.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Right, only you can decide where to go from here. 1 year ago at that time, I didn't truly understand what a prosecutor was, and that is why I had to leave the prosecutor's office. I felt that I couldn't stand in a court of law until I knew what a prosecutor really was. And now, Mr. Wright, it's your turn. My turn? What is this thing called a lawyer? What can you do as one? It doesn't matter who, every person deserves a proper defense and a fair trial. Isn't that the basis of our judicial system? In case anybody was wondering, if we were disclosed this type of information as an attorney and we didn't think we could properly defend our client anywhere, we could ask standard procedures, putting in a request for withdrawal. So you wouldn't have to defend them anymore. It's not like you'd be locked into it. Judge could deny it. The only time I've ever seen that happen, actually I've seen it happen once. It wasn't criminal, but it was in juvenile court representing a parent who was like apparently a really difficult to work with parent. And I think they went through like 3 or 4 different attorneys in a very short period of time, and the judge just got tired of it. He's like, no, you're not getting anybody new, you're keeping that attorney. But the whole system here is screwed up anyways, right? In theory, there could never be a withdrawal because every trial takes place 2 days. It starts like a day or 2 after the crime. So yeah, like in this situation, it'd be almost impossible because the judge is gonna be like, no, we can't really wait. But then again, you're supposed to build a defense for the person in a day anyways. So is it really that big of a difference? That's why this whole 3-day thing and immediately after the crime thing is preposterous. Proper defense, but what exactly is that? Is it where a lawyer forcibly and blindly gets an acquittal through shouting and trickery? Well, that's incredibly simplistic. Ironic that you of all people would say such a thing. Isn't that exactly how you have fought for your clients up until now? Well, that may be true, but it's not really trickery. That almost makes it seem like it's insincere and you got somebody to believe something that wasn't true. We always found the truth. So that's like entirely incorrect. That's because I believe my clients to be innocent from the bottom of my heart. But if I were to get an Engarde and acquittal, that isn't a proper defense at all. I became a lawyer because I thought I could save people who were suffering and in pain. But when I look at this mess we're in, I can't even protect the person closest to me. Oh, that's cute. Even if I win the case, I still lose in the end. I just don't know what to do. Right? Would you get a hold of yourself? You have it all wrong. Huh? We aren't some sort of heroes. We're only human, you and I. You want to save someone? That's something easier said than done, wouldn't you say? You are a defense attorney. You can't run away from that. You can only fight. That's all you can do. Until you don't want to be a defense attorney anymore. Then you can do something else. People like you and Francisco von Karma are always using all you have to pin me down. You fight to the very end even when you know the truth is not with you. But I'm not like you. I can't fight for a false verdict for a man I clearly know to be guilty. Francisca, she fights for herself. The only thing she fights for is her perfect win record. She doesn't have a perfect win record anymore. Can we stop saying that? I literally destroyed her twice. She loses, etc., etc., etc. And isn't that the same as something? Isn't that why you ran away a year ago? Because your precious win record was destroyed? You are so petty. I see. Now I understand why you despise me so. However, you are mistaken. Thanks to you, when you sealed off my path to a perfect win record, I began to realize the error of my ways, and I realized that things such as a perfect record were meaningless.
What?
I don't believe you. Are you saying that is why you left the prosecutor's office? But then why? Why are you here now? The answer to that is something you will find out on your own. Or I could just tell you instead of being a prick, but I'm gonna continue to be a prick. I have faith you will see it before the verdict is read tomorrow. But if you can't, then you will be powerless to change the ending of this story.
Mr. Nick, the transceiver!
I'm sorry for what happened earlier. Now then, Mr. Attorney, do you wager you can obtain an acquittal tomorrow? My, what is the matter, Mr. Attorney? I don't sense your usual anger this time.
Tell me, please. Why are you holding Maya hostage for Mr. Engarde's sake? Why are you doing this for that cold-blooded killer?
Right. Please don't misunderstand things. He is my client.
Don't toy with me. A man who hires an assassin is just as much of a killer himself.
I believe you were asking me for a reason as to why I'm doing what I am.
Yeah.
This is what I like to call my aftercare.
What the heck is aftercare?
My name carries a certain amount of honor and dignity, Mr. Attorney. I take great care to ensure that no suspicion falls upon my clients for my handiwork. That is what is called client relations and is part of my assassin's duty. God, whatever.
An assassin's duty?
We were unlucky this time. My client was arrested as a suspect. As a result, I did what I had to do to enlist extra help, Mr. Attorney. And to ensure that you will do everything in your power to the very end.
That's right, I was supposed to, like, distort his voice. What is your name?
I believe I told you once before, however.
You did, but...
My name is the Killer. Shelly the Killer.
You are Shelly the Killer?
Please keep in mind you do not have much space to maneuver with me. As the Killer, I always finish what I set out to do. If you fail to keep up your end of the bargain...
Maya!
It would be my duty as an assassin to see to it she receives a nice long nap.
Ah, no!
Now then, if you'll excuse me, if someone were to trace the signal back to me, it'd be quite troublesome.
Oh, wow, like we didn't already figure out that that's Shu.
Cat?
It can't be. That cat, can it?
What is it?
I think I know where Shelly the Killer is holding Maya hostage. Edgeworth, have all the police units head for Engarde Mansion immediately. Alright, you hurry over as well then. Don't lose hope yet, Pearls. The fight has only just begun.
Yeah!
Maya!
His answer is missing Maya!
We have this area completely surrounded. There's no hope, no way for him to escape. Assuming he's still in the area. Can't believe it. That butler, all this time, he was the killer. He and Engarde were working together all this time. I'm sure they had worked out a contingency plan ahead of time. Why is there suddenly a bear there?
Oh, it's a figurine of a bear! There are a lot of cuts in it for some reason.
A bear? Isn't that more of a thing for Mr. Corda? Why would something like this be here? Right, look down. There's a little pet door installed here. Do you think that this came through that little door? Huh, this door, it's locked. Well, I'm pretty used to breaking doors down by now. Let's go, Edgeworth. Ah, there's no one here. From the looks of this room, I would say this is Engarde's private lounge. Look at this, right? An antenna for sending and receiving radio signals and a VCR. Check inside the deck. If there's a tape, it would be an important piece of evidence. If we're lucky, it'll have the moment the crime was committed recorded on it. I'm sorry, but the tape deck is empty. There's no tape to be found.
No!
But there is no mistake that someone used this to record something. Looks like someone took the tape we're looking for and escaped with it. Searched all over, but it looks like he got away. I'm sorry. Looks like he slipped out of our grasp this time, and now we've lost our only lead. Don't give up yet. That little girl is looking to you to be her pillar. Yeah, you're right. We're close, I can tell. We've already set up checkpoints along every route leading out of this district. Leave the rest to us. Maya. What is this? This looks like a picture of Miss Impacts. With love, Celeste.
Miss Impacts, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Corda's former manager.
Why would a picture of Miss Impacts be here in Mr. Engarde's mansion?
And why does it say with love? This might be a clue.
Ah!
What's wrong, Pearls?
Please let me see that picture frame.
Huh? What's so special about the frame?
On the back, there's something written on the back of the frame. Maya! It's Mystic Maya, she left us a message.
What? I thought you'd come. I knew you would. Now listen up. You'd better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never forgive you, ever. I'm fine, so you don't need to worry. There's so much I want to write, but I don't think I have a lot of time left. Pearly, you're there too, right? Make sure you help Nick, okay? Someone's got to watch out for the helpless lunk. That's it for now, Nick. I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, that's actually really fucking sad. Would a prosecutor be able to call on the local police that fast? The prosecutor is normally not this involved in investigations. They investigate, but not to that not to that extent. The police do all the investigation and provide the prosecutor what the prosecutor needs. Like, this is not what Edgeworth would be doing here.
Outside, no! It's my
Right. Calm that crying child down. What's wrong? Why the blank stare? Oh, nothing. We searched the house and this is the last room. It looks like he eluded us. Edgeworth. Yes, as far as clues go, I think this is about all I'm going to get. But I'm still short one last thing. And what is that? Well, now we can do this. It's Andrew's psych lock. If I could find out what secret she's holding, then I think I stand a chance in court tomorrow. To blow this case wide open and expose the truth. I think I know what you're thinking. I'll contact the detention center. Thanks, Edgeworth. Well, let's go, Pearl. It's time to open the last lock. Good evening, Mr. Wright. What's wrong? You look ill. She's concernicus about me. Miss Andrews, I've come to remove your psych lock. Yeah, what the fuck? What if somebody came up to you? Okay, you can't pretend like you have to pretend like you don't know what this game is. You go up to somebody randomly and you're like, and they're like, what is it? And you're like, I've come to remove your psych lock. My what? I want to know and you will oh my god. This all sounds really creepy all of a sudden. I want to know and you will tell me your secret. Fine, go ahead. Try to break me if you can. Ah! That's a very fun invitation. We didn't get health. We didn't gain health back from unlocking mats. That's bullshit. Oh, we did. I just didn't notice. This is a picture of Celeste Impacts. She looks younger than when she passed away, though. With love, Celeste. This is Miss Impact's handwriting, isn't it? Where did you find this? No, that's alright. It was a rhetorical question. Yeah, it is. I found this at Mr. Engarde's mansion. And after all this time, my last remaining secret has been revealed. I have unlocked your heart. Celeste, she was supposed to get married to Juan. Yes, but I heard that it didn't work out.
Because Mr. Corda didn't want to get married to her anymore, right?
Yes, because of Matt.
Because of Mr. Engarde? What do you mean?
I think I can see where this is going. Celeste, she was Matt's manager a long time ago. She was the happiest woman in the world at that time. And she realized he had an entirely separate personality, and then it just didn't work out. I was working part-time back then, and I often saw the two of them together. So that's why. With love, Celeste is written on the frame of that picture.
They were a couple, weren't they?
It wasn't anything as splendid as that. Celeste was being used, toyed with until she was thrown away.
That's so horrible!
She seemed really happy with him, even happier than when she was with Matt. Celeste and Juan were such a good match that they were even planning to get married. And then it was suddenly called off. On the night Juan called their marriage off, Celeste, she killed herself. And that's why I framed Matt. It was revenge for Celeste and myself. I'm sure even you can guess why Juan called the wedding off, right? Matt confessed to Juan about his relationship with Celeste. I see, so that's what happened.
But, and why did Mr. Corda have to call off the wedding? I don't understand it all.
It's probably because of his worthless male pride. Juan and Matt were always fierce rivals. Matt waited for the wedding announcement and then unleashed the truth on Juan. He was aiming for when it would hurt Juan the most.
Poor Miss Impacts!
That wasn't the end of it. That day, I'm almost certain that Celeste left a suicide note behind, and in that note, she left a detailed account of Matt's various misdeeds and so that she would never again be hurt by Matt, she chose to die. Then when Juan discovered her body, he hid the note.
But why would he do that?
It's simple. Juan realized that the note was a powerful weapon against Matt, and it would be especially damaging to his refreshing like a spring breeze image. In any case, with his pride hurt, Juan sought revenge.
Revenge? There's that word again.
Juan wanted to publicly disclose the contents of that suicide note. And at a time that would cause Matt the most damage, of course.
And that was at the press conference after the stage show.
I know all about it because I heard it all from Juan. It was so I could find out about all this that I drew close to Juan to begin with. They're quite a pair of hideous monsters, aren't they? Even Celeste's death was something for them to use in their game. That night when I found Juan's body, it was only natural that I thought the murderer was Matt. Those two were always spying on one another after all. As for me, I was frantically searching for Celeste's suicide note. I wanted to destroy it before it ever went public. I was going to burn it. I had even brought a lighter. But I couldn't find the suicide note, and that's when revenge crossed my mind. Yes, I was going to bring them my own kind of cruel revenge. Celeste was killed by those two monsters. So when I stabbed Juan's body with that knife, I didn't feel a single shred of guilt. And that's all I have to say. Well, Mr. Wright, even knowing all this, are you still going to help that man? I'm a lawyer. I see. What a foul profession. Thank you very much for your time and for talking with me. It was no big deal. I couldn't sleep anyway.